Hello and welcome to Murphy's Garden, and you join me today from the vegetable patch. I'm in my little potting shed, but I am going to do some work outside in the vegetable patch today. So those of you that have been following the channel will know, or even if you've watched just last week's video, we did a little bit about the vegetable garden, and we have made quite a lot of changes. Even this shed is all brand new. It's lovely to have somewhere to do videos from, but also outside we've been putting in raised vegetable planters, wooden ones, which Alice has been working on. It's taken a lot of work and a lot of effort to get them, and they look absolutely fantastic. He's built them all himself. But if you haven't got someone that can build them for you, or you aren't capable of building them, as I certainly wouldn't be, then what do you do? And the other thing is with the wooden ones is that the wood takes up quite a lot of room. So if you are restricted on space, then it's nice to perhaps consider other options, because I think lots of us have found that growing vegetables in this way in a raised format really helps. It helps with lots of things. It helps with drainage. It helps if you've got poor soil, as we have. We've got quite sandy, very free draining soil. It's always a struggle trying to grow things that provide enough nutrients and water retention over the summer months. It's always been a bit of a struggle. So by having a raised planter, you can choose the soil that you've got. You can add goodness into the soil and change the soil that you've naturally got. So there's lots of advantages, and also if you're elderly or if you've got any physical disabilities, getting down on the ground can be challenging as we all get older as well. So this is, going forward for me, is a good option too. So there's lots of advantages, and so a company called Vegega contacted me and have sent me a product for me to try, which I'm quite excited to do. So the product has come, so we'll go and have a look at that. We'll do this sort of unboxing and look at how easy or difficult it is to build. And then we'll look at what we're going to plant. I mean, we're coming now into the winter season, so I'm not going to be planting vegetables in it. But what I thought would be lovely to do is to do perhaps like a bulb lasagna, and look at kind of nice winter displays that we can use, because I do really like this area to look nice. It's every bit as important as the rest of the garden to look nice. So I'm going to be planting it with some nice winter displays, and then we'll use it in the spring for vegetable production. So let's get to work. So we'll just head outside. This is Murphy, to which our channel is named after. So this is our vegetable garden. We are quite lucky because it is quite big. It's a good size. And these are the raised planters that Alistair put in this summer. So we've got it's been quite productive. So we'll just head now. That's the little potting shed. We've got some herbs and things here. And then we've got the greenhouse here. So it's a very productive little area. And we've got all the seedlings just starting to come through in the greenhouse. And we've got this, which we're using as a raised vegetable planter, which is an old animal trough, and that's been fabulous for all the salad crops this year, but things are starting to go over. Now this is the product that we've been sent. So this is it in its box by a company called Vegega. I think that's how you say it. So let's begin. So I'm excited to see this. It arrived a few days ago, but I've been waiting because I knew I wanted to record me opening it. So I haven't opened it, I haven't done anything with it yet. And I have got very little DIY ability. So I'm deliberately doing this without any help from my husband, because I want to see if I can do it on my own. Vegega produces stainless steel modular raised garden beds which not only look aesthetically pleasing but are durable and long lasting. And the box contains 6 metal pieces. We've got two flat pieces, which will be for the front and the back of the planter. And then we've also got 4 curved pieces. So these are the curved pieces, and these make the either end. So they need to be joined together, but they make the ends of the planter. So we'll just put them over here for now. And there's another little bag in here, which I'll just tip out too. So I've just taken everything out of the box, and we've got the instruction manual here. It's got all types of configurations and sizes, but the one that I have got, that Vegega have kindly sent me, is this one. It's the 2-in-1, which is 3.5 foot by 2 foot. And it's a good height. You can see the height it's going to be, so that's good. Seems very nicely made. It's finished in this oyster white colour, which is going to look lovely in this part of our garden. and it comes with a little bag of screws and washers and all the nuts and things that you need, and it also comes with this little tool just to help you tighten the screws. So it's so far so good. So the first thing I've got to do is remove the plastic covering. So this is just being put on to protect, to keep the paint nice. So I'll just begin by doing that. Once the plastic wrapping has been removed, the paint is more susceptible to getting scratched. So I thought it's a good idea just to work on the cardboard box that the product came in, just to protect it during the build. Okay, that's the wrapping taken off. And now we're going to join these two pieces together. So simply place one of the screws in here, and then a washer, and then the nut. And I'm just going to hand tie it for now, and then at the end I'll go around and tighten them all up. And the only thing that you will need is just a Phillips screwdriver, just to make sure that everything's put in nice and tightly, and you can tighten the screws up against it. Done all those. The product seems well made, and the metal is quite substantial. It doesn't feel kind of flimsy. The company claims that they should last 20 years plus. So perhaps if we're all still around in 20 years, we can do another video to see how they've fared, but they certainly seem good. It's certainly satisfying seeing the speed at which these are forming. A lot easier, a lot quicker than certainly the wooden beds that Alistair built. It took a lot of time, a lot of preparation, a lot of maths and calculation to get them right. Whereas for those of us who are not so good at DIY, this is definitely a great option. Small point of note, which I've just made the mistake of doing, I just put it like, I didn't really think about it, and I just started locking this one together like that. Well, obviously that one is the other way round, so it's important to make sure they're the same on both sides, otherwise it won't look right. But luckily I'd only put a couple of screws in, so it wasn't too much of a problem, so I'll just redo these ones. Now just coming to the last panel, it's getting really quite tight now and a bit tricky to get it in. So I'm conscious that I don't want to scratch the metal, and I just feel like I haven't quite got enough hands. So I am going to see if Alistair's free, not because I need his help, I just need a hand just to hold them together while I put the screws in. So I'm not admitting defeat, I just want another pair of hands. So Al is just holding the panels together, and that way I can just add a screw, one on this side and then one on the other side. And then he can go and get back to whatever he was doing, and I can just carry on and put the rest of the screws in because they're all nicely in alignment. So thank you very much, Alistair. So I think we're all done. We've got a few screws and washers left over. A little bit fiddly towards the end, very easy up until the very end, where I found it quite difficult to get the last panel in, so I had to go and get Alistair, just a second person, just to help me sort of push it in while I screwed it together. But I think it looks lovely. I'm going to just move the cardboard. Murphy, you going to move? Come on, move. By the way, darling, over here. I'm going to just move the cardboard, and then we'll see what it looks like in this position. Ta-da! Oh, and one more thing which I haven't done, and that is to apply the protective rubber edging. So this just stops it being any sharp edges. It doesn't really feel particularly sharp, but this is just belt and braces, just another little protective coating onto the edge, and you just push it on. It slots on really easily, a little bit harder where you meet the joins, but not difficult at all. And they supply more than you need, so when you get round to the other end, you just cut off the excess and push it together, and it just finishes the job off nicely. And after all that hard work, we've worked up a bit of an appetite, so I'm just going to go around and collect some of our vegetables and some herbs, And this is what vegetable growing is all about. It's just about enjoying these lovely fruit and vegetables and things from our garden, which always taste so delicious. So I'm just going to make some minestrone soup, which we love at this time of year, and we always eat it in the shed when we're busy and we're muddy and everything else. It's always lovely to eat outside. So after lunch we'll decide where to put the new bed. Okay, I've had the best idea. So we tried the new planter in that area. We tried it in front of the shed. It looked a bit too domineering. And then we tried it there, which looked quite nice, but felt it was a bit wasted there. But we've had a really good idea, because when we've completed these raised borders, we decided that this area here, we had raspberries in here, and they were autumn raspberries, and they were never very good, and they kind of squished in your hand and were never very good. So we decided to take the raspberries out. You can see a lot of them are coming back again. And the idea was in that little area there, we were going to put just a small kind of lean-to little shed, really, for tools, really. Just a small, just to hold on to tools. And then this area is just not really doing very much. So we thought this would be great, because this is quite a prominent part of the garden. Because if you come, look down there, Alice is just doing some work there. But this is the path, and it leads into this gate here. So it really needs something, doesn't it? When you walk through here, you need some sort of prominent feature here. So that would go in absolutely lovely there, and against the grey fence would look really good. I need to paint that panel on the grey fence. It seems to have, the paint seems to have come off, so I'm going to paint that. And then what we'll do for this autumn and going into spring, I want this planter to be planted with things that are going to look good during the winter, but then definitely looking fabulous in spring. So I'm going to look at different options on bulbs and perhaps some other little things just to put in there. So we'll come on to that. Perhaps in the spring we've got that blueberry sitting there, and it could do with being repotted. It could go in here long term, I don't know. But if the container idea and the display is very successful, we might want to keep it looking lovely. So we'll see, we'll decide that later next year. But for now, my job is to clear all this area, get rid of the weeds, get rid of the raspberries, lower that soil down. You can see we put the new gravel on this part of the garden, and it changes into golden gravel. So I do want to do something with this area, because we never actually finished it. So we'll lower the soil down, and we can use the soil that we dig out in the bottom of the planter, and then we'll start filling it ready for planting. So I'm just painting just this one panel. The other panels look absolutely fine, but for some reason this one doesn't. So I'm just going to touch this up, because it will really stick out and not look so good. And also once the planter's in, it'll be harder to do. So I'll just get that done. And I've weeded the site really well, and now I'm just going to get the levels right. So I'm just going to take off a bit of this soil, and this is lovely soil actually, so it can go into the planter and be reused, repurposed. And I think we're getting there. I think that's about the right level. So I'll just rake the soil to just make a nice level piece of ground, and then we can get ready to put the planter in situ. And I've just added some plastic matting just to the bottom, just to prevent weeds forming, particularly around the outside of the container. And you'll see that container is bottomless, so that means that water drains really well, but I have just pierced the plastic inside the planter just to aid water drainage. And next I'm using the cardboard box that the planter came in, just to put at the bottom, just to fill the planter up, and nothing is wasted. The only thing I will say is just remove any sellotape, as you don't obviously want any plastics in there, but the cardboard can go in, and that just really adds a bit of bulk to the planter. So I'm mixing it with the cardboard and also some straw. And next I'm adding some of the soil that I removed from beneath the planter. So that's just going back in. I'm not sieving this, I'm just putting it in as is, but I am removing any big stones or twigs or anything obvious. And next I thought I'd add another layer of cardboard, as I've got lots of it. And then on top of this layer of cardboard, I'm going to sieve the soil and also some of our homemade compost into the container. So I think you'll agree this container looks absolutely lovely. I'm really pleased with it, and I'm really now using much bigger containers than I ever used to. I used to, you know, do quite a lot with hanging baskets and things, but it's always a struggle. And when you're working full time as I do, trying to keep things watered, it ends up becoming, any enjoyment that you get from the display is outweighed by the pain of having to water it so regularly and look after it. Whereas when you use something big like this, it just doesn't need watered nearly so often, and it's a bit more low maintenance. So I'm going for larger scaled things. So with this one, obviously go on their website, I'll leave a link in the description, and there is also a discount code if you're interested in buying any of their products. Have a look on the link. But if obviously you can do the same thing in any container, be it big like this or smaller, you can just scale up or scale down on what you want to do. But what I want to do a lasagna of bulbs. I think that's a really good idea to get succession of planting, so as one goes over, the next one comes through. However, I'm not going to plant the whole thing with bulbs because it would look a bit boring this side of the year in the run up to you know, the new year. I wanted something going on in this you know, before the spring comes. So I thought it'd be quite nice to put some shrubs in, and perhaps some, you know, some evergreen things like ivy and just a few pansies and things like that, and then have the bulbs coming up through all that foliage and really making quite an impact. I think it's going to look a lovely contrast against this backdrop, and it's been lovely. The fact that I got this container from Vegega, it's really motivated me to sort out this area. I do have to do a little bit of tidying up with the edging on the path that needs sorting out, but I'll come on to that later on. But I do want to get this planter planted out. So I've been out to some of our local nurseries and garden centres and bought a range of things that I'm going to plant. So the first thing I've got are skimmias. I've got 3 skimmias, and these are Skimmia rubella, lovely red version of the skimmias. Now we've got skimmias underneath the hornbeam walk. They're white ones. I'm going in this container, I'm going for lots of nice deep colours. I'm going for purples and I'm going for oranges. Here's Murphy. Hello, Murph. So I thought that would look lovely. And then I've got some bulbs. So the bulbs I'm going for are, I've got tulips. I've got this one, which is called Queen of Night. I've got 24 of those. And then I'm contrasting that with orange ones. And these are called Beauty of Appledorn, which is a lovely, lovely colour. And then the way you do it is you put the tulips at the bottom, then you do the daffodils or the narcissi, the next layer. And I've got these are minnow. This is a lovely of Garden Merits, a lovely narcissi, and I've got 3 packets of those, and there's 18 in each. So that will be the next layer. And then the final layer of bulbs will be these crocuses. So again, I've gone for purples and sort of orangey yellowy colours as well. So I think that's going to look lovely. And then also, to give me a bit of interest at this time of year, I've bought some pansies. So I've got these orange ones, which are called Panola Deep Orange, and I've got 3 trays of these. So there's 6 in each, so 3 of those. And I've gone for this lovely one, which is called Sorbet Orange Jump. And again, I've got 3 of these. I think to get impact, you have to plant quite a lot. I might have too much, I don't know. It's difficult to judge it, but we'll see. And then I've also got some ivies because I want something to trail over the edge just to, you know, soften the edges. I've got 3 ivy plants. And then finally, I've got some wallflowers, and I've got 6 of these, 6 wallflower plants. And these, I can't see what colours these are, but they will come out sort of late autumn and into early spring, but it's kind of like oranges and reds and nice rich colours. And then the other thing I've got for a little bit of evergreen interest are these little eucharas, and these are eucharas that I took little cuttings of and I've made 6 plants like that. So they're only little, but I think when grouped together they'll make quite a nice little impact. And then the other thing, if we want a little bit of height, we've got plenty of grasses in these borders here that are waiting to go in. I'll just grab them. So I've got a choice of grasses that I've grown myself. I've got, this is Malika altissima, which is quite nice for thicker leafed interest. Or I've got, this is Chinese fountain grass, Pennisetum. that's quite nice too. Or I've got a finer leafed one, which is Stipa tenissima, which I think would actually look lovely. So I don't know, I'm going to play around with different ideas. So you can see, just looking into the container, that I've just planted it up to here. I haven't gone right up to the top, because what I want to do is obviously put the bulbs in a lasagna. So before I do that, I'm going to just decide the sort of layout, the rough layout I want. So I'm thinking that they would look quite nice in the corner. The other thing I've got is some lovely, this is chicken manure, which we've been given. Some of our friends who've got the nursery locally gave us a bag of this and said, just trial it and see what you think of it, but it looks lovely. So I'm going to put a bit of that in, because that will just, because all of these things are going to need quite a bit of nutrition, aren't they, to keep them flowering and keep them looking good. A little bit more. I'm going to just tip this in. And that looks good. Oh yeah, that looks lovely. You have to wear gloves using this. That's lovely stuff, really nice. So the bulbs should be planted about 10 centimetres deep, which is probably about that really. So I'm just going to place the bulbs. So these are the orange ones. And I think I'm going to put the skimmias here, so I don't necessarily want the bulbs coming through the skimmias. And also I don't really want, I want to put some grasses at the back, so let's just have a look at that. So perhaps put the grass about there. Should I put 3 grasses? Or does this one look better? I think I'm going to get 3 grasses. So these are all the orange tulips. And I'm sure most of you know this, but obviously put the tulip with the roots at the bottom, and pointy bit to the top. So the idea when you plant the tulips is you don't want them touching, but you can plant them in layers, and all that happens is that the stem of the tulips will just push past any obstacles of the bulbs above. They're lovely, healthy tulip bulbs. And I think you need more than you think, because I know when I've planted tulips, I planted tulips in the parterre and I thought I'd planted loads, and then when they came to flower, they looked really pathetic and I was really disappointed. So I think you've got to put in more than you think if you want to impact. So now I'm going with these ones. These are the Queen of Night. Let me just show you the packaging of this one so you can see. Beauty of apple dawn. Nice orange colour. And this one is Queen of Night. I think I'm going to need more compost, so I'm going to go over to the compost heap and get a little bit more. So I just wanted a little bit more compost than perhaps I've got, so I'm just sieving some of our homemade compost, just getting rid of any sticks and stones that might be in. So this is the Stipa tenissima. I'm just going to remove all the weeds on there, on there, on there, and these are the narcissi which I'm planting, minnow. And it says to plant 4 inches apart, but I think when you're planting in pots you can plant a little bit closer than that, which I'm going to do. And don't worry too much about what's going on underneath where the tulip bulbs are, because they will grow round them, it's not a problem. And I've got these little ivy plants, and it's quite easy just to tease them apart and just to make a few extra plants. So I want these just to come over the edge of the pot. And the wallflowers are a little bit taller, so they're going to go at the back here. I think I might do this in 2 groups. So I'm going to put a group of wallflowers there. And a group in there, and the tulips will just come through in between, so that's fine. And the final bulbs are the crocuses. So I've got quite a lot of these and I'm putting them in quite closely together. And now I'm just going to put in these little eucharas, and these eucharas, to be honest, I'm not sure what they're called. It might be something like smoothie or berry smooth berry or something like that. I can't remember, but they've got these veined, lovely purple veins in the leaves, which just bring out the colour of the skimmias. And it's always best, if you can, to plant plants in 3s, because they just sort of look better like that. So I'm going to do them in little groups of 3. And then finally we've got the pansies, and I love the colour of these orange ones. So these ones are called Panola, deep orange. And you'll notice that I'm putting everything in quite tight, much tighter than you would plant a container in spring, because don't forget, in spring and over the summer months everything's growing, but a container in winter there isn't an awful lot of growth, so things like the skimmias really won't put on much growth over the winter period. So I'm really packing things in quite tight, and I'm interspersing it with these ones, which are the sorbet orange jump. And all that's left to do now is just to top up the soil in between the plants, and then I will be watering it just to make sure the soil, the plants have got good contact with their soil that they're planted in. So the planter, as you can see, is all planted out. I'm really, really pleased with it. I think it's going to look lovely. And if you're interested in the products from Vegega, then just head to the link in the description. It'll take you to the website, and also there is a discount code. If you put in the Murphy's Garden discount code, you'll get some money off all their products too. And so I'm looking forward to seeing these bulbs and all these plants develop over the coming months, and especially what it's going to look like in spring. But it's turned what was a really rather dull and boring part of our garden, which is just a dead end full of mess really, into a real feature. So really pleased. Thank you very much to Vegega for sending me this container, this raised vegetable container, and I probably will use it for vegetables in the spring, but for now it's really nice to utilise it and enjoy it over the winter months and into spring. So thank you very much for watching, and join us again in the next video. Bye for now.